Hi there, beautiful bakers. Welcome back to Grace and Bakes. If you're a returning subscriber, I love you so much. Thank you so much for the support. And if it's your first time watching a video from our channel, I really do hope you choose to subscribe, and I really do hope you enjoy the video and you learn something. So today we'll be doing another video on scones. It's actually the third one. So if you haven't watched the other two, do go back after this one to go and look at the other two recipes. Today's recipe is an Amasi scones recipe. So we'll just be baking normal scones, but then we'll do Amasi instead of milk. So I try to make it as simple as possible. I hope you learn and I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you at the end. So these are the ingredients that we'll need for today's recipe. I'll be using 1 kg of self-raising flour, and the reason why using self-raising is because you won't need baking powder for it. I also use 2 to 3 cups of Amasi, and I'll use 1.5 cups of sugar. And then I have my 1 cupful of vanilla essence, or 1 teaspoon. I'll also be using around half a brick of margarine, and I'm going to top it off with this half a cup of cooking oil. And there's the margarine. You can see it's already opened, so it's already been halved. I just put it out so that it can soften. Remember to use softened margarine or butter. So over here I've already thrown in my half a brick of margarine, so I'm just going to add sugar. My daughter wanted to help out as usual, so I'm letting her pour in the sugar that we'll need. And there we go, we have our 1.5 cup. So I'm just going to whisk this together until it's combined. If you have a hand mixer or a stand mixer, you can use that as well because it's less work. I just decided to do this because most people will be using their hand, so I'd rather show you guys the way you would do it in your kitchen. Again, consequences of baking with a child in the kitchen. She keeps trying to taste whatever I'm making. But anyway, let's continue. So I ended up getting a hook from the stand mixer because my whisk was just too small, so it was bending while I was trying to mix my margarine and sugar, and this one works better, so I'm just going to use that for now. And there we go, that was nice and quick, and this is what it looks like. The aim here was to mix, getting rid of any lumps and bumps, because you don't want to bite into your scones and find a lump of butter in there. Next up, I'm going to add 1 cupful of vanilla essence. And my half a cup of cooking oil. You can use any kind of cooking oil here, sunflower oil, olive oil, whatever you use will be okay. Still does the job. And I'm going to mix that again. And this is what it looks like. Like I said, this recipe is quite simple. There's nothing hectic because right now we're almost done, just a few more ingredients to go. Next, I'm going to add my 2 to 3 cups of inkomazi or Amasi, and I say 2 to 3 because depending on the texture of your dough, you either use 2 cups or 3 cups, which is also dependent on how much you mix as well. So I'm going to start with 2 cups. Do you guys see the person behind me bringing a ladder so she can see what I'm doing, guys? Okay, so I started with 2 cups of Amasi, and I'm going to mix that, and then I'll continue with my other ingredients being the flour. And if I feel like it's still too hard, then I'm just going to add an extra cup of Amasi to soften it. So this is what it looks like now. And up next is my flour. I'm going to throw everything in. So this time around, I'm going to use a wooden spoon to mix it, just because I don't want to use my hands. However, it's completely up to you if you want to use your hands, if you feel like it will do the job properly, which chances are it will. If you use the hand method, then I strongly suggest that you use your hands to combine your flour. So this was a bit tedious, mixing with the wooden spoon, but again, because of my nails, I didn't want to use my hands. So I'm just going to mix this until it's combined. So at this point, I felt like my dough was a bit too hard. I think you can see as well, because there are lumps of flour in there and there is still dry flour. It's not combined as yet. So I went to get an extra cup of Amasi to add to the dough. So I ended up using 3 cups of Amasi. However, you are allowed to use a bit more if you still feel like it's still too hard for you. At the end, what we're aiming for is a dough that is easy to mold. So it shouldn't be sticky, it shouldn't be runny, and also it shouldn't be flaky. So if when you form it into a ball, it should just form a ball easily. So that's the aim. So I'm going to mix again. And this is what it looks like. So I know you can't see the texture properly here, but I'll show it to you just now. When I form my shape, then you'll be able to see exactly what I was talking about. So now I'm just going to grease my pan. You guys know me and keeping things traditional. I'm using the wrap for margarine. I just put a little bit of margarine on it, and then I just spread that across my pan. Perfect surface area coverage. It won't be sticky. It still works best, so I stick to that. So I'll be using the kitchen counter as the surface where I'll be forming my dough into scones. So I'm going to need to wipe that down a bit. Oops, moved my camera there. And after wiping it, I'll dust it off with some flour so my dough doesn't stick to the top, and then I'll be able to roll it and form it there. So briefly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of dough out of my bowl. I'm going to press it onto the floured surface on the kitchen counter, and then I'm going to roll that. Next, using a cookie cutter, I'll just cut out the shape that I want my scones to be, and then I'll put that onto the baking tray. So guys, like last time, I still don't have a cookie cutter, so I'll be using a measuring cup in order to cut out my shape. Just bear with me, but if you have one, then I suggest you use a cookie cutter. If you don't have a cookie cutter, you can also use a mug or a glass. They work as well. Just don't use a small one, because then your scones will also be quite small. So I suggest using a bigger one. It works perfectly. You'll still get the perfect round shape. If you don't want a round shape, then you can use whatever shape you want. It's still okay. Okay, there we go. The first pan is done. So now what we're going to do is to brush the top of our scones with either milk or egg, depending on whichever one you have. This is just to create that golden color that you find on top of scones. It makes them look really nice. So I'll be using milk plainly because we don't have egg. I think you noticed also that we didn't use egg in this recipe. So I'm just going to brush the top with milk to create that effect. Okay, and now we're ready for the oven. So we're going to bake this for 15 to 20 minutes at 180 degrees, and then we're going to be preparing the next batch. In the meantime, and now they're all done. Well, firstly, you'll know that your scones are done by the smell, because people will be able to smell them from across the street. They smell so good, guys. And secondly, they'll have this golden brown color on top. So after baking, the scones should be nice and soft. And even a day after you bake them, I promise you they'll still be soft. And this is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy baking!